Well, I played chess all my life, learning the moves at 4, but I thought I was playing good chess. But when I was 25 and I moved to New Orleans, I encountered tournament players for the first time and discovered how bad I was. And one of them took me under his wing, Alfred Carlin. We were close to the same age, and he was 1900 and skinny then, and he got me to start reading Capablanca as my first serious chess book instead of the Fred Reinfeldt things, you know. And so Alfred coached me on chess, and I ended up going into my first tournament, which, you know, I left New Orleans to go to Los Angeles for an American Open, and I took second in the unrated section, and you know, showed him my games, and he went over my games with me, and I came back, and so Alfred and I stayed friends up until, you know, he died, you know, and he was a good guy, you know, good chess coach and a good mentor, even though he was a couple of years younger than me. And it's funny because he was 1900 and thin when I met him, and his rating and his weight went up together until they got up to 2450 rating. And but he was always had a good sense of humor, and, you know, he'd always say things like, "Don't check the pieces, check the position." And so he was a good guy. One of the chess playing venues when I started playing in the mid-70s was a bar on St. Philip Street called the Seven Seas. It was a dive bar. There were fights over the pool table regularly, but they had 2 chess boards in the corner under the speakers, and good chess players showed up every night, and the house rules were, if you lost, you had to get up and let somebody else sit down, and you had to buy the winner a drink. And I got a lot better playing there, and as a result, I was used to playing inebriated. And I had, at one point, a long win streak going on over a period of months. And but it was a fun place to play, and a lot of good chess players went there. No kids, obviously. And you could play till 5 in the morning because it was a 24-hour bar. So that was one good place. And then there are a couple coffee houses. There's one coffee house that opened up on Charter Street where there's a garage. It's a garage now. It was a garage they converted to a coffee house, and chess players would go in there sometimes, but it's a garage again. And because there are other coffee houses that are better. When I first got here, there was a bar scene. There was no coffee house scene, and but I've played chess in a lot of interesting places. My favorite place to play chess in the whole world is where the Downriver Club has its Thursday night group at Envie. I used to play there with a group of friends in the afternoon, trash talking, playing speed chess. There'd be 5 or 6 of us. It was always nice when there was an odd number because you know who was losing, because they'd be standing and watching and kibitzing instead. But that was always fun. And so some of the best kibitzing lines, Al Binet, who, you know, is still an active player, came up with the best lines. He came up to one of my games, and I was down a couple of pawns. He said, "Did you both start with the same number of pawns?" And so I've used that line a couple of times with pawns or pieces, depending on the situation. In the 70s, there were lots of artists on Jackson Square that played chess. At that time, there were no fortune tellers. It was all artists all the way around Jackson Square, and you had to get up at 5 in the morning and put your stuff out to get your 15 feet of fence space. And a large number of those artists played chess. We had French Quarter tournaments of an 8-person round robin. There were 7 artists and me, I worked in TV rather than the artist, but I'd go down there with my infant daughter in the stroller and play my game with one of the artists, and you had to get together to play your games each week until the round robin was finished. And it was a good group of people, and just about chess strategy, there's one fellow, and I learned that there are quite a few people like that. He'd offer a draw. He was a strong player, but he'd offer a draw when he saw you had a forced win. So if he ever offered you a draw, you just had to look harder. And there are still players like that. For a couple of years ago, I was LCA president, and my goal at that time was to get young tournament directors active, because we had a situation where Cajun Chess, the lady in charge of that, died, and Cajun Chess and the other fellow there went up to work for the USCF. And we didn't have anybody to run good tournaments that could run them well. And Andrew has exceeded any expectations, you know, doing this chess. And he was already doing it. I mean, it wasn't me that got him into it. He was doing it already, but he does such a good job, he and Richard Campbell. And, you know, the other people I tried to get, some people come and go for different reasons. And, but, you know, getting a new group of young tournament directors that is really interested in having good tournaments in chess is great. And the Downriver Club runs the best tournaments I've ever seen as far as the way they're run. Of course, my early tournaments was all index cards, and you waited 3 or 4 months for your ratings to come through because everything was done on paper. But now you go home from one of their tournaments, and usually by 10:30 at night, even a tournament that ends at 9 o'clock, you see your ratings already posted online on the USCF website, which is amazing that they're so diligent to do it such a good job. And a lot of people like online chess, and compared to when I lived in Denver, it was in a church basement, everybody was shushing all the time. You might as well just play online, you couldn't talk at all. But the Downriver Club meets at coffee shops and a bar, and then there's another club that meets, that the Downriver is running now on Tuesday nights, and they meet at a coffee place. So you can talk in there, and you can talk to your opponent a little bit, and you can have fun. It's a social thing. And playing chess in person, it's the social aspect that I like the best right now. I used to be more of a killer at playing, but now I go because you socialize with the people, and you can't get that online.